You are listening to Leaders and Legends, a podcast presented by Veteran Strategies, an Indiana-based public relations enterprise, and federally certified veteran-owned small business. I'm your host, Robert Bain, along with our producer, Chris Spangle. Our podcast is featured on the All Indiana Podcast Network in partnership with Wish TV. You may find Leaders and Legends at allindianapodcastnetwork.com. Thinking of starting a podcast or need to host a public meeting? Let Leaders and Legends, LLC be your partner as you look for new ways to communicate your message. Please contact us at chris@leadersandlegends.net. As always, all our podcast interviews are dedicated to the legacy and generosity of P.E. McAllister. Today, we have been blessed, graced by truly one of the most liked people I have ever met, and that is Battalion Chief Rita Reith. She is a 31-year veteran of the Indianapolis Fire Department, and she has the merit rank of Battalion Chief. You know her from her numerous appearances on television. 2008, Chief was appointed to the office of the Chief, Ernie Malone, as the Director of Media Relations, and she serves as the department's sole public information officer. And she's the best.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
Well,
we've known each other a long time. I appreciate the kind words.
Well, I love you. We all love you. And we're very grateful for your time today.
Well, thank you very much.
Hopefully there's not a fire.
Do you mind if I make a really quick correction?
Please make a really quick correction since
I know we've known each other for quite some time, and you and everyone else gets it wrong, but my last name is actually pronounced right, as in right hand.
Get out.
Get out. I know. Nobody ever gets that correct.
Then why isn't it spelled that way?
Because it's German.
Well, I get that.
I know.
As opposed to Reich.
Yeah, but it's Rita Reith, as in
Rita
left
Reith.
Right. And literally there is one agency that gets it correct all the time, but other than that,
National Socialist Party.
Even people on the job don't get it correct. Oh, national. Yeah.
Right. Rita.
Right, as in left to right. Yes.
What's your maiden name?
Green with no E.
I only say that because I was at her wedding.
Well, you were at one of them. And let's not talk about that because it lasted a minute and a half, but that's okay. It's still out there.
You look darling, and your daughters look darling.
Thank you. But again, make it clear, I got out of it as quickly as I got into it.
You were currently single.
Sometimes you make a bad decision and you just say, out. That's the way it works. Yeah.
I collect divorces like challenge coins. So I get it.
Yeah.
You are from Brownsburg.
I am from Brownsburg. Well, I'm not originally from Brownsburg, but yes, I live in Brownsburg and I grew up in Brownsburg.
Where are you originally from?
Navy brat, all over, born in Norfolk, Virginia, and lived in the naval bases in and around the country, in Lemoore, California, North Carolina, Norfolk, Virginia, Seattle, Washington, and we came here from Seattle.
Big naval base here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. My parents got divorced, and my mother is from Washington, Indiana. So after their divorce, my dad I think he was just leaving the Navy at that time. He flew A4s and A6s on the Enterprise, and he was...
With John McCain?
He actually did know John McCain.
He
was friends with Jim Lovell and Gus Grissom. He had they were kind of all that whole age, that whole group of people. But anyway, so my mother being from here, that's where we came, and my dad stayed in Seattle for a bit, but...
He retired?
He did
Naval
retire.
Officer?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So,
Lieutenant Commander Junior
Lieutenant
grade.
Commander?
Junior grade, though, I think.
Well, it's Lieutenant.
JG, Lieutenant Commander JG, I think is how they say it.
Did he serve in Vietnam?
He did.
God love him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but he wasn't shot down, so he...
No, he survived. He was around till he passed about 6 years ago.
Is that where you get some of your love of public service?
Maybe. I mean, my time as a Navy brat is very significant in my formative, in my memory and during my formative years. So probably I do wish that I had gone into the military in some capacity after college. I did not. And so I'm happy that I found the fire service and that it has allowed me to serve in that capacity because it's similar to the military, but it's parallel. It's kind of military adjacent. Not really true military, but.
Is that where you set your sights while you were in high school, while you were in college? I'm going to do something involving public service. I'm just not sure what. And what drove a nice young lady to go be a member of the fire department?
Robert, I was as far away from the fire service as you could possibly get. In high school, I had 1 or 3 tracks that I was going to go. I was going to be on Broadway. I did a lot of Footlight musicals here downtown. I did musicals in high school, singing, dancing, all of those things. And I really thought that's where I thought I would go after high school or after college. And then I kind of piddled around with being a nurse. My uncle and most of my family members are attorneys. And so I also thought I would be an attorney for a minute. I read F. Lee Bailey's The Defense Never Rests, and gosh darn it, I was going to be a defense attorney. I mean, that was it. So I was kind of like waffled between Broadway and being an attorney. And then I quickly found out that I wasn't cut out to be, with grades and stuff, to be an attorney, and I was never going to make it on Broadway, so I got into journalism in college.
Well,
yeah.
I
was going to be Jessica Savage, too. I was going to be a reporter.
Hopefully with a better ending.
Yes, correct.
So you sing and dance to this day?
I haven't done that in a long time. The last time that I was on a stage I was a singing Hoosier at IU.
Okay, so it was a few years ago.
You graduated
I wanted
to be a red stepper, but I didn't make it. So
graduated in 1985.
Correct.
So if Spangle here had a gun to your head and said, belt out a tune, what would you sing to save your life?
To save my life? Oh my gosh, I would probably sing something from a chorus line. I don't know. Play me the music. Music in the Mirror, probably.
Do you sing to yourself all the time?
All the time. In the car, I am the world's best singer. I'm so good.
Did you used to sing in front of your daughter's friends? You have twin daughters?
I have twin daughters. They're 35. Well, they'll be 35 in June, so I'm upgrading.
But when they were younger, did you belt out in front of their friends?
Yes, all the time. And they do it now, too. And they actually can carry a tune. They just never really wanted to go down that path. And so I kind of tried to gently prod them down that path, but they weren't having it. But yeah, we do a lot of inside our own house, inside the car where no one can hear us singing, yes.
Do you have a favorite type of dance?
Broadway. I mean, that style of dancing, like I'm not like the kids that dance today. That is not me. I can't do it. I just can't. I've tried and I can't do it. But if the style of dance that they do on Broadway is more akin to what yeah.
Do you have a favorite singer?
Broadway singer?
Any singer?
Yeah, I do love some Celine Dion. I love Idina Menzel. If you're going Broadway, I do love, If we're going country, I'm all Vince Gill. I mean, there's no music that I don't like, put it that way. I like them all.
Have you been able to attend a lot of Broadway plays?
I've never seen a show on Broadway. I know.
Why not?
I've seen a ton of local Broadway. When Broadway comes to town, I've seen a ton of that. I just have never, all
those honeymoons and you never went to New York City?
Robert Bain, that is so not fair. But no, I've been to New York City, but I just didn't see a show on Broadway. All those honeymoons.
Favorite.
You ass. Make sure you put that in there.
It only has credibility because it's coming from a guy who's been divorced 3 times.
I know.
Do you have a favorite play?
Oh, gosh. Broadway play. Broadway play?
That you haven't seen?
Honestly, probably my very favorite of all time is A Chorus Line. And that's back in the day. Now, I've seen, all the new ones, Wicked and all, Hamilton, all that stuff. But one that speaks to me the most is A Chorus Line.
Which movie is a better musical, Grease or Wizard of Oz?
Which movie? Oh, Grease.
Really? With all the fire in Wizard of Oz?
Are you talking about Wicked or Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of Oz, the actual movie. Judy Garland, if you had to watch one.
Grease. And that is a soundtrack we sing a lot in the car. Yeah. Yeah, Wizard of Oz was awesome for a lot of reasons, but as a musical, no.
You ended up at IU?
I did. I ended up at IU. So back when you could have average grades and still get into IU, I was lucky enough to get into IU, lived at Wilkie North.
Are you still hopelessly devoted to IU?
I love IU. Yeah. And, I don't get to attend as many out of town, as many games as I'd like. I don't get to go down and go to basketball and football games like I'd like to. But yes, IU is my school. And I just almost can't stand some of the other school, Michigan State, I just can't do it. It's like Plainfield and Avon. I just, it's kind of in, it's in your soul. You can't, Brownsburg, Plainfield, Avon, we have a rivalry that will withstand the time.
You bracketed.
Okay.
To
I know. Yes.
You want me to just move on?
Yes, it's still, for Chris, you may not know that. I got down to IU after the national championship, and I left right before the national championship. So my time at IU, we had a short-lived moment where we had Lee Corso and Bobby Knight for about a year. I think, did Sam White take Lee Corso's
I think it was
spot?
Bill Mallory.
Bill Mallory, that was who it was. Anyway, so I at least got Lee Corso for my first year there, but I did not. No, I know.
Any classes with Dan Dockich?
No, but Brownsburg High School played in the regional finals at Purdue, and we played Andran, and Dan Dockich was on the team, and he was the big dog on the Andran team.
Sure.
And I was a cheerleader, and so that is a core memory for me. Sorry.
Well, he's been, a part of, now it's national, but Indianapolis sports media we used to go on there when Greg Ballard was mayor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Have you had a chance to talk to him or anything?
No. I think I did a interview with him for a sporting event that we were doing when he had his show, and that was about it. But he would not remember that. It's a core memory for me.
He would not. I want it for the record. He would not remember Rita as a cheerleader in high school.
He would not, because he went to a different school.
Because I don't remember what the Warren Central cheerleaders
was my
look
neighbor,
like.
if that matters. He remembers me from high school, but pretty much now.
He was a terrific guest. Did you listen?
Mark Patrick was a guest?
He came on the podcast.
He's a nice man.
He was very nice. We had some mutual friends, but he had terrific stories, and it was Debbie Knox and Jim Shella and I interviewed him, and it was a blast.
I bet he has some good stories.
First time he'd been back to Channel 8 since he had left the station. So you're talking, long, long time. You are listening to the Leaders and Legends podcast. Our guest today is Battalion Chief Rita Reith. You know her from standing in front of fires with a helmet on.
Yeah.
Did you have fun in Bloomington? Everybody, we just interviewed Angela Ganote.
Yes, and she was my neighbor as well growing up.
Really?
Angela. So Mark lived on this side of the neighborhood, and Angela lived right here in the middle, and then we lived over on this end. Well, we were all.
Do you guys still stay in touch, you and Angela?
Mm-hmm. Occasionally, yeah.
Now, I met her back in 1990.
Okay.
Because I sat next to her in a political science class.
Oh, nice.
And we talked tons about IU stuff when she was on the podcast. And I always ask the same question, or maybe make the same assertion. Everybody I know who went to IU would go back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Now, what would it be like to go back to IU at your current salary?
Oh my gosh, at my current salary?
To have money instead of to not have money.
Well, considering I had to work 2 jobs the entirety of my 4 years at IU as I was going to college, it would be a lot. The one thing that I will say from my experience in college to what my daughter's experience was in college, I didn't want them to work because the working part of my college years absorbed so much of that extra time that I just wish I didn't want them to have to deal with. And so I would not let them work during college. I said, go to college and have fun and do the college thing. I didn't have that same opportunity, but I would still do it again in a heartbeat. I had a lot of fun when I had the opportunity to do so. But oh my gosh, how could you not love going to IU? How could you just not love going there? I mean, everything about it, Little Phi, all of it is all good.
We just finished Little 5 weekend.
You did? Oh, yeah.
My daughter went down there
she
for
did? It. Yeah. Yeah, I have some pretty good memories. Few that I can remember, I should say.
Oh. Did you stay during the summer? Did you want to figure out a way, hey, if I go to graduate school, I can stay for a few more years?
No, I did not want to do that again because I was paying for it myself. I went to Cedar Point and worked at Cedar Point for the summers.
Do you remember in '84 when the Olympic team was there?
At Cedar Point or at
No, at IU when Jordan and everybody was. There's a really good book about that summer.
Oh.
I'll send it to you.
Oh, do. Okay.
Written by a previous podcast guest, John Wertheim.
Okay. All right.
May I call you Rita?
You may.
Rita's degree is in journalism.
Mm-hmm. After the Broadway thing didn't work out, and after, I figured out I wasn't going to really be an attorney, but I could argue a good case, but I wasn't going to be an attorney. I got into journalism. It was kind of between telecom and journalism. Journalism was Ernie Pyle School of Journalism at that time. It wasn't what we know as the media school today. And telecom was its own separate thing. But I really wanted to I just kind of went down the path that I thought was going to get me into being a reporter. And so I think we had 1 or 2 classes in broadcast at that time. It was, 1 class in PR, one class in magazine writing, 1 class in law. Now it's much more robust, but back then.
Probably the most famous IU broadcaster right now, besides Angela, is Sage Steele.
I do know Sage, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You don't know her from college, though.
I don't. I know her from when she was, I think, Channel 8. Was she Channel 8?
She's up, I think that's right. Or she was up in South Bend, too. I think that's where she and Angela worked together. A couple of my classmates did well. And there's a guy up in New York, Carmiello, who is a reporter up there. He was in my journalism class. And there's other people that did better than I did. Was Mark Cuban there when you were there?
He's a little bit older. With him, but he may have been. Mm-hmm. I didn't know of him, and I didn't cross paths with him then.
So why am I not introducing you as the anchor woman or the investigative reporter for what led you kind of away from that path? I interviewed for a couple of spots, and back then, and even still today, really, they want you to go to the smallest market possible and do a lot of work for very low pay. And back then, the pay was around $9,000 or $10,000 a year. It just wasn't that good. And since I had a lot of student loans to pay off, I really kind of needed money more than I wanted to do that. And so because I had student loans looming, I ended up getting a job in retail and worked for the Limited for several years and absolutely loved it. I did. I was a store manager for the Limited, and Did you moonlight at the Orange Julius?
I did not, but I was in the Limited, and I learned quite a bit. I mean, a lot of good things came out of my time at the Limited. And so I learned a lot about, management. I was a manager. So I managed the store downtown. I managed the store at Castleton, which was the highest volume store. I managed
back when Castleton was a thing.
Castleton was a thing, but the Limited was a thing. The Limited was, the time that I was at the Limited, we were the absolute hottest thing around, right? So, and it was a very structured environment, in so much that we were working, 27-hour days, basically, to give it kind of a picture. But it was hard work. It was fun work. I did well at it, but it taught me a lot. And now that I'm where I am now, I can see how it all made sense. So, loved it.
She meaning you, 31 years. Mm-hmm. All on the Indianapolis Fire Department?
Correct.
It's a pretty big leap from the courtroom to Broadway to the Limited.
You gotta have
to being a firefighter. I was going to say a fire person.
Firefighter.
Fireman,
I don't care.
What hit you to say, I'm going to completely change my entire future trajectory?
Well, Robert, so how sometimes things just happen. I left retail. I had my daughters when I was still working at the Limited, and I had twins. And when they were about a year old, I just could not do little babies and the retail schedule anymore. And like I told you, it was pretty brutal. So,
and just real quick, if you've never met
Madeline and
Chief Wright's daughters, they are beyond darling.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, so I quit to stay home with them, and I married to their dad at the time, Dave, who's awesome. And I just said, I can't do it. I'm going to stay home with the kids, blah, 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 blah. And I was home with the girls about 3 years. And when I met a guy who was a firefighter on IFD, and we played co-ed softball together. My sister and I played on a co-ed softball team on Harding Street.
Who is he?
Sports Park.
What's his name?
Chuck Harper.
I know Chuck Harper.
Okay. So Chuck was on this team. Mm-hmm. And so we played co-ed softball together. And Chuck said, out of the blue, randomly, we're hiring on the fire department. You should consider being a firefighter. And I looked at him like he was from another planet. And I said, what do you mean be a fire? You guys get paid? I had no idea. And I asked a series of probably really stupid questions because I literally had never even given the fire department a single thought, not even a single thought. And so he started explaining to me he was like, no, really, you should do it because, and he said in his exact words, as a female and as a mom, you can work your full-time job. We work 24 on, 48 off. You can be a stay-at-home mom 2/3 of the year and have your full-time job, the other third of the year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that sounds interesting. And so we just kept talking about it. And he said, the application process is going to open in January. And here's what you need to start doing. You need to start working out and do these specific types of exercises because you have to take a physical agility test. And you're going to have to take a written test and an oral interview and all of the things. And he kind of just explained it. And it just sounded appealing enough for me to start doing it. So then I started with the research.
Well, your daughters are your biggest cheerleaders.
They are. Why do you say that?
Because I've seen them cheerlead for you. That's why. But what did your friends and family say, and husband?
My husband... Oh, gosh, Dave, I hope you're not listening to this. My husband said I don't want to be married to a firefighter. And that was kind of one of the myriad of things that went wrong with our union after that. And so we did not survive that. My mother was not happy. She did not like the danger factor of, what she saw on TV and maybe she knew something about firefighting. I don't know. And, I just don't know that anybody really took me seriously or that I could actually do it and make it through the class. And my sister was gracious enough to take the kids for 28 straight weeks as I went through recruit school. And in the mornings, I would drop them off at her house, go to recruit school by 5 a.m. or whatever time we had to report there. And
is that at 10th and Post or is that somewhere else?
It used to be at 10th and Post. Now we're at 9030 East 33rd.
Okay. The old used to be in the old Warren Central.
Correct.
Where my mother went.
Yes. Nice. Yeah.
So let's talk about what percentage of IFD was female when you started and what percentage of it is female now?
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be able to do the math for you, but I will tell you when I came on the job, there were 4 women in my class and we were numbers. Now the department was 166 years old. So I came on in 95. The department we were numbers 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. So we had 22 women at that time. And there were probably 700 women or 700 people on the job at that time. Now we have about 76 women out of 1,282.
So some people would say
good enough.
Not an improvement.
Steady, but not, it's certainly we'd love to have a much better percentage. But, if I am the example of women who don't know the opportunity that exists to become a firefighter or may, like me, never have given it a second thought, that's the constant, that's what we as an agency and we as individuals within the agency are always trying to get out. There are opportunities for women in the fire service, and even within that, you'll find a place within there that will appeal to you. Like if you're a STEM gal, if you're a techie person, there's, you can be a firefighter on the street for 30 years and be involved in things that are STEM related, such as hazardous materials or things like that. So it's a constant process of how do we reach the people who really don't know. They don't know what they don't know. And it's a great career for women. It's a great career for anyone, but especially women. And, we have lots of women on the job who have littles. They are pregnant, they have kids, they come back to work and it's just like a normal job. But the scheduling is what was so appealing to me, the 24 on, 48 off.
Is it a matter of that women have so many more choices in 2025 than they did in 1995 or 1965? So it's like, I can do all these things now, and this just is a little too... I mean, there's a reason why people like me go in the military and have a TV show, right, in the Army. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why people like my son go into the Army is 11 Bravo combat infantryman over in Afghanistan.
Right.
So we all make our choices.
Right.
So, I mean, isn't it somewhat women just like, that's not my thing. I don't want to do it.
That could be. But again, I think it's even, there's more opportunity now than there even was when I was there. Am I following that train of thought? Because when I was encouraged to apply for the fire department, women were still not all that welcome on the fire department. There were still the holdovers of the men who just did not want women there. And now I didn't have as much of that experience as the women who came before me, and thank goodness I didn't, and thank goodness those women existed, because they completely paved the way for all of us, 24, 25, 26, and 27, who enjoy a much more universally accepting fire service. Nowadays, it's not even a thing. It's just not even a thing for it to be whether you're male or female. I mean, we have some pretty badass women that come on the job that could, Yeah, we have
say it.
Well, I was just going to take it out. Yeah, I was just to say that, we have some pretty badass women that come on the job. So the opportunity is way more available to women. They just may not know about it, or they may not know, what it's all about.
Or if they want to do public service, they may be in the FBI, which is something they didn't have 2 or 3 generations ago. So there's lots more. There are several different opportunities now
but
to
women
do.
weren't women in the FBI and spies and CIA and Secret Service and all those, and they were in the military too.
Well, they were all in everything, but it's a matter of, as you said, it's not even a thing now. Well, 30 years ago, it was a thing.
Right. Yeah, there are, now it's so normal for and I say kids, but for the younger people coming on the job, because everybody's 21 and older, for them, all of their mothers worked. Their mothers were doing all kinds of really cool occupations that back in the day, my mother, would not have had available to her.
Do you do any recruitment?
We all recruit every day.
But do you walk in front of a room of 20, 30 women coming out of college or high school and saying?
Well, not so much anymore. I would if I was tasked with doing that, or somebody invited me to come and speak to a class, I would do that all day long. But we have a group of people who recruit, everybody on the fire department is tasked with recruiting. Let's just say that. So every individual that's on the department, and they are our best recruiters. The people that are doing the job are the best recruiters. But we do have a group of people who take on that recruiting role and will go speak to a college class. I used to do it, but I don't so much anymore because I don't really have the time and I don't get asked that much.
You are listening to Leaders and Legends. Our guest today, Battalion Chief and Public Information Officer Rita Reith. She is known for her amazing work with the news media. Chief, is there a particular Hoosier leader and or legend you admire most?
All of them, but I'd have to say Richard Lugar.
Did you get a chance to meet him?
I did. I went through the Lugar series.
Oh, that's right. You did. That's
right.
Lugar
Lugar series class and got to meet him. He was also a good friend of my uncle, who was an attorney. The uncle that I said was attorney Harlan Hinkle out in Hendricks County. And they were good friends. And when I got to meet him through the Lugar series class, we spoke about my uncle, and he, had some very nice things to say. And he was also a senator with my dad's cousin, who was Kit Bond from Missouri. So
Christopher Kit Bond. Yeah.
Christopher, yeah. So he's my dad's cousin, my second cousin, but we spoke about that when I got to talk to him at the Lugar series.
Do you remember your first fire?
Mm-hmm.
Where was it?
I was at, well, I can't really say that. My very, very first fire, no, but my very first run, yes. Let's just say that. It was a transformer, and I was at Station 19. And I was all excited, and it was a freaking transformer. It was nothing. But my first fire, no, I actually don't remember my first fire. I remember fires, once it made an impact. But that was my very, very first run out of recruit school, and I got all dressed. I was ready to go, and it was a transformer.
You walked into the fire station. Let's just make the gentle assertion that the testosterone level in your average fire station is rather high.
Can be.
How'd they treat you? How did you feel treated?
I, with 100% honesty, I have never been mistreated coming into a firehouse or being not, or I never, now I'm going to be all screwed up. I never felt not welcome. There was always a good balance. When I came on the job, there was a good balance of men that had been on the job for quite some time that you kind of looked at as an older uncle. They always treated you as if you were their daughter, kind of, and gave good advice and kind of tried to mentor you.
Like my buddy, Captain Phil Oakes?
He is the exact who I'm talking about. He's exactly who I'm talking about. Love that guy. He was awesome. But anyway, and then there was the younger guys who all, they just kind of like to hear themselves talk, but whatever. But no, they were great. No.
Have you ever dated a firefighter?
Robert, why are we talking about that?
It leads to my next question.
Okay. What's your next question?
My next question doesn't matter if the answer's no.
Yes, I have dated a firefighter.
Is it awkward?
No.
That's the point of the question is you have two people in very dangerous professions and you're always trying to look out for each other. You never know what any day is going to be like. I remember talking to people when I used to work at the sheriff's department. They were married or dating each other. And I'm like, what's that like? And it's like, as soon as he leaves on a SWAT run, I sweat like crazy until he comes back, or vice versa. Is that some of the things that you felt given how dangerous your job is?
No, actually, it was quite the opposite because I understood. Sometimes I think when you don't know and you don't have the training background, the reason that, when you look at it, because you haven't been through the training,
right,
it might seem a little more dangerous than what we're feeling on the inside because we do have that training and we do know how to anticipate what's coming next. And so, no, whenever that situation arose, did not feel that way. No. Now for my mother, she hated it. She was like, every time you go out the door or I hear something come across, I don't like it. And so for her, it was quite angsty, but not for me.
Worst you've ever been burnt?
Never been burned.
Never?
Never. Mm-mm. I've had a cracked up orbital socket. I got hit in the face with a ladder, which is probably my worst injury, but.
On purpose?
No. And the blame is somewhere in the middle between the guy bringing the ladder out of the truck and me. Look, I was PIOing and I'm on my phone. When the PIO gets hit or hurt on the fire ground, that's really not it's really not a good thing. But I was walking up to a scene and I had my, kind of my vision was in my hand looking at my phone. And the firefighter on the ladder was pulling a ladder out of the back of the truck and he pulled it out hard enough and fast enough that it came out flying and just landed right in my eye socket.
Thank God you didn't lose your eye.
I am 100% thankful I didn't lose my eye. I'll show you a picture. But so he profusely apologized. I went to the hospital, whatever, but that was probably the only real
smoke inhalation?
No, nothing that I've been treated for. Everybody on the fire ground who's not wearing a mask, myself included, is sustaining some degree of smoke inhalation because we're all right up in the building. And, the new studies about all the problems associated with fire ground operations and, the smoke being harmful 40, 60 feet away from the structure. Those are all things that we all take into consideration. But I have, I don't have the intention of wearing a mask on the outside of the building doing my job.
Death.
What about it?
You encounter it
every day.
Do you remember how it affected you at the beginning? Because, you're not exactly looking at someone who died, peacefully, in their recliner.
Correct.
Some of the scenes, some of the things you've witnessed have to be searing, no pun intended, in your mind and memory.
There are a few. There are a few. You kind of get used to it there are a few incidents that occurred while I was still working on the street. I was out on the companies for about 12 years, and there are a few incidents that are still pretty visible in my mind. A lot of the death that I feel today have to do with my brothers and sisters dying from occupational diseases or from suicide, which is pretty prevalent.
Yeah, PTSD is
it is
significant. I want to ask you about one of your compatriots here in just a second, but go ahead.
But the runs that we had where death was an issue, I do remember seeing, the first time that I had to go on an EMS run and the person had died, and there's some you always remember them, but you just get used to it. It's sad to say, but you just get used to it. I am very...
Do you get used to children?
No, I don't think you can ever get used to that. But I feel it's made me more acutely aware of how fragile life is and how fragile this body is, meaning that we're just skin and bones. People think they're invincible when they try some of the things that get them into predicaments by which they need to call the fire department. And we're not promised anything, and I know that, and it's probably something that is front of mind every single day. Not that I'm afraid to die, it's just that, I'm just aware that it could happen, and that's just it. So I kind of try to prepare my daughters. We have what we call the death binder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, look, if today's the day, here's where all the paperwork is.
Do you get... or is it easy to get upset with people because the cause of a fire is just so ridiculously irresponsible? You're like, what in the hell are you thinking? There's so many cases where they say, don't do this, could cause bodily injury or flames. And then we, be humans being human, we do it anyway. And you come up on a scene or whatever, and you're like, okay, so what caused this? And they tell you, and you're like, you got to be kidding me. Can you think of examples where something was just so crazy, ridiculous? Why are we here?
I can think of two off the top of my head, but one, we don't really get angry with the people. You don't want to... Sometimes people just do things and they just don't think.
Point taken.
And so it is not our job to judge, and we also don't get angry with them. Now, we may go back and have a conversation about it later.
Say, I know a lot of firefighters. Are you sure?
We'll talk about it later, but no, because for them, especially when it's really genuinely accidental and they just weren't thinking about what it is they were doing, and it causes them to have this horrible, event happen in their life, that is not... we just don't get mad at them, Anyway, so the two examples I was going to tell you, we had a guy who wanted to get rid of bed bugs from his couch. So he put his couch on the front porch and set it on fire. Well, it was a covered porch and sitting right next to the house. So, his house burned to the ground, but he was trying to get rid of the bed bug. That in his brain.
West Side?
I don't remember. I don't huh? Yeah, mostly East Side, yeah.
No, we would set the house on fire first.
Right.
Then the
that
sofa would
never happen in Brownsburg.
And then we would shoot guns into the house.
But it's things like that. And then the other one I was thinking of, we had this older gentleman, just the nicest man ever, and he had a bird's nest in a gutter. Okay. So instead of like you or I would take a broomstick and try to knock it down or whatever, or get on the ladder or do whatever, he filled it with fuel and set it on fire. And then it burned his house down. And so he even admitted, I just wasn't thinking. I just didn't think. I put the lighter fluid in it and I set it on fire thinking it would just burn that, not really realizing that it was sitting in a gutter attached to his house. So those are the kinds of things where you have those stories, and God love him, and I hope they were able to rebuild. And my biggest thing is, the most heartbreaking thing is when they don't have insurance. They've had to give up insurance because it's gotten too expensive, and they have medical needs, or they have some other need, food. You're right. Or somebody that says, I let my insurance lapse 2 days ago. Now, I don't know if there's like a clause that allows them to do that. We never find out. But those are the kinds of things that bother me more than them just doing something without thinking first. But those are two examples that I can.
What's the biggest fire? Is it the condos?
Cosmopolitan?
Yeah.
That was a pretty big one. That one lasted, I think I was on scene without leaving for about 36 hours.
It was a 6 a.m. phone call from you, as I recall. It was super early.
Actually, I should have called you earlier because it came in at 3. But I was graced. I gave you some grace and let you sleep in a little bit.
That was significant fire. Now, I remember the W.T. Grant fire that happened in the 70s. Remember that downtown?
Well, no, I don't remember it because I wasn't attuned to that kind of thing. But you lived here, right? So
Correct.
You would have remembered it. But
right.
Wasn't the Grant fire over there where the IBJ building was over there off Pennsylvania? And
I believe it's right there, Pennsylvania, Washington Street.
Right there, yeah.
That was significant. I mean, that was a big deal, I remember. And that was kind of in a time period where here in Indianapolis, there were all these crimes and incidents, whether it was Karitzis or the Speedway bomber or the Burgers. Did you watch the Burger Chef murder documentary?
I did not watch that, but the Speedway bomber still affects me to this day.
Speedway bomber is in the Burger Chef documentary.
Really?
He's interviewed. I'll send it to you.
You do, because
you should. It's terrific.
But I mean, and I'm telling you, and I know this.
Why does Brett Kimberlin still affect you?
He doesn't. But the idea that there was, remember, erroneously, it was reported that the Mr. DeLong kicked a bag that was sitting on the ground.
Correct.
That's how and that's not apparently that's not the case. He picked up a gym bag. Yeah. But it was originally reported that he kicked something on the. I will not kick anything that's laying on the ground that looks like a paper bag or
because of that.
Because of that, to this day, it's still. If I walk past something and I see something on the ground, and if it were an actual gym bag, I'd walk right past it. I just can't. It still is just there. It's a core memory for me. And I don't even know why. I had no connection to it. It just was terrifying on the west side, and nothing bad happens on the west side.
Did anything?
But it was terrifying for that time.
Did anyone die in the Cosmopolitan on the canal fire?
Mm-mm.
It was just a big, giant fire.
And we didn't even have any firefighter injuries. Yeah. And it was a giant fire, and we saved the Landmark building. That was a big win for us. It was about 100 below zero. It was freezing. We had, trying to maintain a 36-hour firefight was in that weather was a lot of community help. We had a lot of community help. Everybody came forward and offered coffee and sandwiches and all of the warm places to, get inside. Sorry. And so, but that was that was kind of a logistical nightmare because half of that fire, in order for us to attack it, we had to go on the other side of the canal and go over the Landmarks building to get to it. So we learned a lot from that fire, but nobody got hurt. And that's all that matters.
Thank God.
You can rebuild, and they did.
You are listening to Leaders and Legends. Our guest today is Battalion Chief Rita Reith of the Indianapolis Fire Department. She's also their public information officer and has been so for almost 20 years?
17.
17? To me,
okay,
the greatest East Side legend of all time.
Okay, go. Who?
Is Mr. Jim O'Donnell. Yeah. A survivor of the USS Indianapolis and also a lifelong firefighter.
Correct.
Did you get to know him at all?
I did not. And if I did, I don't really remember. He may have retired before I came on the job. I don't know when he retired, but if he was still on the job, he was pretty close to retiring when I came on. His legacy, the Hoffmeister family and the O'Donnell family, and we have a firefighter that is his grandson on the job currently.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're pretty proud of him. It's pretty neat.
I want to mention, you're talking about Eric Hoffmeister, right? Uh-huh. Who's an East Side legend for a whole nother reason.
He's a good dude.
Well, he was married to
correct
Jim O'Donnell's daughter.
Correct.
Who is so nice.
Correct.
She's so
Mary's
nice.
Awesome. Yep.
I want to mention another East Side legend who I knew just a little bit. I knew his brothers better. And that's John Lorenzano.
Yeah. So John Lorenzano passed in the Athletic Club fire in 1992. And I came on the job in 1995. And between John and Woody's death that happened in 1992, there was a study. People came in and just reviewed every single thing that happened, good, bad, or indifferent on that fire and within the fire department. And they made recommendations. And my class in 1995 was the very first class to reap the benefits of what happened with John and Woody.
Is that fire deliberately set?
That I don't know.
Did they ever decide on that? So the athletic club fire happened in 92. It's where the jurors were being housed for the Mike Tyson rape trial. Mm-hmm. Some of us believe the coincidence is a little much to take.
Well, and you may find the answer in the white paper, the recommendations that, came out of that. For some reason, I think it was an electrical fire in a refrigerator. Is what I thought. And because of the way that the building was constructed and the void spaces and, just some things that we have since improved upon within the fire service, there was a lot of things that could have been done better, but I don't know that they ever said it was arson. I think it was an electrical.
So you mentioned things changed. What is it? How did these two firefighters perish, and what was changed?
Well, one of the changes was that we each have our own radio. Back then, one person had a radio. The communication amongst the crews was not as great. Mm-hmm. We did not all have our own SCBA facepiece. They were shared amongst the writing positions on the apparatus. The gear is much better. The hoods were not mandatory. The fire protective hoods that we wear, and so things like that became, the way we operate, the way incident command, just things, the way that we operate and equipment that we now use all came out of that. And again, we benefited from it. So incident command was, I can't speak to how they did it in 1992, but when I came on the job, that was really being highlighted in our class as kind of a new thing. This is how we're going to do it. The incident commander, and we have divisions, and we have this, and this. And so for me, I don't know any different, but for people that had to transverse that whole time frame, I think it was a learning curve for them, but we all benefited sadly from their deaths, and they were just both equally so beloved, crazy beloved. Yeah.
I mentioned a few Eastside Catholic firefighters. There appears to be...
Isn't everybody on the IFD an Eastside Catholic?
Well, I was going to...
Robert, everybody went to Cecina and Cathedral and Chittard. Everybody's an Eastside. And not that I'm holding any grudges. We have a few Ritter people there. A couple of Roncollis are coming up, but it is an Eastside Catholic community, that is for sure.
Where would you be in your career without Brad Remke?
True. Brad Remke. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I love Brad Remke.
Where would you be in your career... without Tom Cobb?
I don't know Tom Cobb.
He's been along for a long time. He was Hal 1 year ahead of me.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Irvington kid.
Oh, he's on the job.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that Tom Cobb. Okay, yes, yeah. I know Tom Cobb. Sorry, Tom, if you're listening. Yeah.
Dean Johnson, my favorite.
Dino. I love Dino.
I love him too.
He and his wife and their kids are so cute. But you have so many. It's just, yeah. I mean, sometimes I do these posts about Mike Creech. Yes, absolutely. Tom Cobb's going to be so mad. But sorry,
I will make sure, since he's at Garfield Park, I will stop and make sure that he knows.
I was thinking back in the day, like I'm thinking back somebody that was much older, but I do these posts for the new recruits that come on. And we use that kind of as a recruiting tool, like for other people to see their backgrounds and how they got interested in the fire service. And every time I have to post somebody came from Cecina, I get these comments on Facebook, and it's like another one. Like no nepotism there, but yeah, if you're a Cecina grad and it's
if you're in a fight, you don't want as many Eastsiders around you as possible. That seems counterintuitive.
Listen, you guys got it all going on. I love some Eastside, Catholic representation, and I would love to have that support in a fight. But the West Side needs some love too.
Chief Bowman.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He's a super guy.
Yeah. I don't know too many of them that are. There's none that I wouldn't say are super guys, but it's just funny how heavily invested the Eastside Catholic community is in the fire department.
Do they stick together? I mean, is it something where everyone makes fun of everyone else?
Yes, and they're all members of the Emerald Society, which is a whole nother thing. And they all went to the Chi K and the Golden Age and all those bars you all love to go to. And Manly's Irish Mutt.
I was going to say Manly's
Irish Mutt.
Manly's Irish Mutt's got to be way up there.
Oh, it's way up there. But that's more my speed now because it's, Mike Manley. I love him. But
a great family. Like the Remkes are fabulous 100%. Family.
And I still talk to Greg Remke quite a bit because he's such a historian. And sometimes when I'm trying to, connect the dots, I'll give Greg a call.
Well,
he's very good.
Scott Remke, who died several years ago.
Yes.
And my brother would skip the entire month of May from Howe High School to go out to the track together.
Oh, yeah.
And the Rimkes truly are one of the great East Side families.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of public service on the East Side. So I was walking through the living room in my house a couple of days ago. My girlfriend was watching Chicago Fire or Fire Country.
Okay.
Or whatever the hell.
Or Backdraft or any of those.
Do you watch those and just go, are you kidding me?
No. As a matter of fact, my daughters get so mad at me because they'll call and tell me, Mom, they were doing this on Chicago Fire. And I keep telling girls, it's not real. But no. Yes, I've seen a couple of episodes. Never Fire Country. I haven't watched that one. But Backdraft, back when it was a thing, right? When he comes out of that fire with his coat open and his shirt's perfectly white and he's holding the baby and, I go, you go, that kind of, no, it's just not the way it is.
What's your favorite fire movie?
Probably Backdraft, but it's just not realistic.
More than The Towering Inferno?
Oh gosh, now you're dating me because The Towering Inferno I did watch growing up. That was a pretty good one too, but as a firefighter, probably Backdraft. Towering Inferno was really good. So was The Poseidon Adventure. The Poseidon Adventure was a great movie.
Are you able to watch them? I ask historians, if they're a historian of X, can you watch a movie about your specialty and be dispassionate? And they all say no. They say, I don't watch movies about the era, I don't watch movies about Tudor England because that's what I teach. They never get it right. And then I just get mad. So I just avoid it. So if you were sitting down and you were forced to watch 4 hours of Chicago Fire, how long before you just went, gee, this
5 minutes. Well, and the reason Chicago Fire, first of all, their antics around the firehouse are just not, and what was the show that Dennis Leary had that was about firefighting? He did
I know what you're talking about,
but
I
can't remember the name. Anyway, the way they portray life in the which one?
Rescue Me?
Rescue Me. The way they portray life in the fire station is way less than accurate. So that
which part?
Itself, all of it. It's just the banter.
They're not as horny as they're not as mean. They're not as what?
They're just it's just not as silly as they make it out to be. And anyway, so that is not quite as accurate. But in Chicago Fire, the thing I have to laugh is that there's only really one truck crew that does all of the work in that entire show. And that's, that particular engine and ladder. And they only have one battalion chief, right? Because clearly he's the only one that they ever show. And I'm like, you guys are in the entire city of Chicago and you can't. And every time they see another crew, they always hate them, which isn't the case. We see other crews and it's like a big get together because we never get to see. But so, no, it's not really I don't watch it and I don't get mad about it. I just don't want to waste my time.
As a firefighter, do you expect to be exempt from speeding tickets?
Oh, no. Oh, you mean in my city car?
No, I mean with your firefighter plate.
Well, I don't have a firefighter plate and I don't ever get to drive my personal car because I'm in a city car. And so, no, but if I was in a personal car, no, I would not expect to get exempt because I have a firefighter plate. Anybody can get a firefighter plate. Did you not know that?
No, it's leading to my question about why do people seem to think one way about police and the other way about firefighters? And the argument's always been, well, you get a speeding ticket from one and not the other. What is the relationship in general between firefighters and police officers?
Well, listen, they just beat us in basketball 2 days ago. And so our hearts are a little because they did a great job. We almost had it. We came back. They outplayed us the whole game, but we came back and made it a 3-point game and they did end up taking the win. So, I'll have to refrain from saying anything too negative, but on 100%, we get along so well. Indianapolis should be very proud of the relationship that the police and fire departments have with each other because there are other cities, and we hear this a lot when we have the FDIC conference in town.
Sure.
There's cities in this country where the police and fire departments don't even speak on the street at any time. They don't like each other. They don't get along. There's always, rancor about contracts and union negotiations and, the politicians and, maybe the politician has one a favorite over the other. We have never had that. And I can't even imagine a situation where we would have that. And if we do have an issue that, we don't see eye to eye on, it's definitely something that is not carried over to the street, because on the street, it is 100% all about mitigating whatever we're looking at. And we honestly, as much as we kid each other and kind of, trash talk each other in basketball, hockey, chili cook-offs, you name it, that we could trash talk. But the relationship between the two agencies is genuinely pretty good. And I attribute a lot of that to, the Tom Hannafy era and, I know. I mean, I love Tom Hannafy. Well, you're looking at me funny. Because he was so...
He's a great man.
He is. And he was he did so well at, maintaining that positive labor management partnership and the, Danny Overley on the police side.
That's right.
They just really didn't get into the weeds. They didn't get mad about things that weren't hills worth dying on. And to this day, we still enjoy that. We don't always agree on everything. And there's moments, everybody has moments, but I would say for the most part, this city should be extraordinarily proud of that good relationship.
One last question before we get to the 5 questions we ask everyone.
Okay.
You mentioned, we talked about the Towering Inferno.
Okay.
And then you mentioned the incidents that are still in your memory.
Mm-hmm.
You were on the department on September 11th, 2001. Still bring emotion?
Mm-hmm. I was in my kitchen. I was not on duty that day. I think I can't remember if I had just gotten home from work or it just was in between the 2 shift days. But I remember watching it and oh gosh, you're going to make me cry. But it was, yeah, to this day. It was and the idea that 343 firefighters could lose their lives all at once was mind-blowing. And Father Ray Downey, who was a chief on the New York Fire Department, his sons come to FDIC every year, and I've gotten to know his sons quite a bit over the years. And so there is never a time where you ever really forget that. It's a core memory. It's one of those core memory. It didn't happen here, but we, the task force leaving Indianapolis and then going to do what they did. And I wasn't even as well versed on the task force then as I am now, but what they did was just phenomenal work. And we have firefighters that have died from occupational cancer from their time on the task force. Most of the agencies in and around Indianapolis who had members on the task force that went to 9/11 have had members that have died, members that are to this day still suffering medical issues. And their willingness, I'm in awe of them, and I work with them. So I'm super proud to call them my coworkers. But that was a day. I remember it very well.
Did your mother call you?
My mother did not call. My mother did not call me because she knew I was safely ensconced in Brownsburg, so there was no chance of me getting injured. But
did you attend any of the funerals or do anything with the memorials? Have you been to Ground Zero in New York City?
I have not. But yes, the stuff that we've had locally, I've been part of. Whatever planning the fire department was part of for that, and that's been an honor. Now, over the years, it's kind of waned a little bit. I think the further away we get from it, there aren't as many memorials and stuff. And I got a funny story to tell you, because I know Greg Ballard is your fave. When he was running for office, when he very first was running for mayor, 9/11 at the Rathskeller was a big deal. And we used to have this big party every year on 9/11. And Robert Turner,
public safety director.
Yes, public safety director, very nice man, was bringing Greg around, trying to introduce him to people. And he brought him to the 9/11 event at the Rathskeller at the Athenaeum. And so we were chatting, and he introduced him to me. And I said, oh, nice to meet you, whatever. And we were chatting, and maybe 10 minutes. And so as we were getting ready to part ways, I said, what's your name again? And he said, Greg Ballard. And I said, what are you doing again? Because I might have had 3 or 4 beers, but I said, what are you doing again? And he said, well, I'm running for mayor. And I went, good luck to you. Because I never thought he would win. And then a month later, he did. And it's just kind of funny because I don't know if we've ever chatted about that or not, but I was so embarrassed that's how I was like, oh, yeah, well, good luck to you. You're not going to win. And he just kind of chuckled like, thanks.
And he thinks the world of you.
Well, I appreciate that. But that was his first impression of me and mine of him. And then he became my boss. So it's all good.
Well,
he's a great man.
You are definitely in the majority of people who thought he wasn't going to win. He's super dismissive. Yes. Spangle and Abdul were the ones who really did a lot to help his candidacy by having him on all the time on the radio show, for sure. And there were others.
And we had Bart Peterson, and I had a great relationship with Mayor Peterson. I mean, we went on a mission trip together. He went with us to Mexico City when we did our mission trip through the fire department. And he was just very nice. And I think, was at his third term. He was running for a third term. And it was hilarious. I never thought in a million years anybody would ever beat him. And so, but I was really proud to work for Mayor Ballard. I thought he was a great mayor, and, it was great. Good thing.
Are you ready for the 5 questions?
5 questions. Okay, go.
What was your first job?
My first job, well, I kind of had 2, so I'm going to have to do both at the same, because I worked them at the same time. I bussed tables at a steakhouse in Brownsburg called Harley's. Do you remember Harley's? Does that ring a bell to you? Harley's Steakhouse?
I don't remember Brownsburg.
Okay, well, it was a pretty popular steakhouse in the center of Brownsburg, and all the race car drivers used to go out there. It was all glass enclosed, 3-story. Anyway, I bussed tables there, and I printed T-shirts at a T-shirt shop. I know. I was like 15. Anyway, that was when you could work when you were 15.
What was your first concert?
Ooh, Marshall Tucker Band. It's Indiana State Fair.
Can't you see?
Yeah.
If you could suggest any book for someone to read, which book would you recommend?
All the ones you've recommended to me. Can I say that?
Sure.
Because you've recommended some pretty good ones to me. I just read a book that I thought was pretty interesting and made me kind of angry called The Radium Girls. Have you heard of that one?
I mean, other than Radium and Marie Curie.
Well, it's a true story, and I know you don't like fiction, but it's a true story about the girls that used to paint the watch dials with radium, the green paint.
Really?
It's a great story.
And it just affected their health eventually, or?
Yeah, in ways that you could not imagine. And it's a very well-written book, easy read, but it's a good book. I just finished that one, so I'd recommend that.
I do love buying books for people. It's my favorite thing.
Really?
So send me the list.
Have you read a book called The Attention Merchants?
Is it fiction?
No.
No, I haven't. Oh. Currently reading a book on...
What about Educated? Have you read that book? You would like that, too. That's about a girl who was raised off the grid by her parents and had no education, literally none, until she was, maybe 13. And she ended up educating herself enough to go to an Ivy League school. It's a great story.
It's a great story.
It's called Educated.
She's still alive?
I would assume so. I don't know.
I didn't know if it was a modern tale.
It's pretty current. Have you seen it? It's a memoir. It's pretty good, but it's pretty good.
If you could witness any event in history, be there in person as it happens, which event would you choose?
All of them. All of them. all of them. I love the idea of being in different points in time to do that. But one that I would really like to do is the Iron Curtain speech. Winston Churchill at Westminster College.
In Missouri?
Mm-hmm. My great-grandfather was there. So I would have...
Did you get to talk to him?
My great-grandfather did. He got...
No, I mean, did you get to talk to your great-grandfather?
No,
but
passed. That's why I would have loved to have gone there, because I would have gotten to meet him. I would have gotten to meet a sitting president, Harry Truman, and I would have gotten to meet Winston Churchill.
There's a book, relatively new, just about that speech.
Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It's also a great story on how Truman and Churchill were on a train going out to Missouri.
Oh, I got a story for you.
For Churchill to give the speech, and he was playing poker with a bunch of news people, including Brinkley.
Okay.
David Brinkley.
Okay.
And I guess Churchill was a terrible poker player. So he was losing all this money. Churchill got up to go to the bathroom, and Truman scolded all the reporters and said, "This man saved Western civilization. We're not going to take his money." And they spent the rest of the train losing. Now, what's yours?
Well, I'll tell you off.
Heard and understood.
Fine.
So, Iron Curtain speech. That's your choice?
Westminster. Yeah, sinews of peace.
Number 5, last question. If you could have dinner with anyone living today, 2 hours off the record just to chat, whom would you choose?
Timothy Dolan, Cardinal Dolan. So Truman's on the left. My great-grandfather's in the middle.
Now, Dolan's been in the news. Cardinal Dolan, has been in the news quite a bit because of the papal election.
I know.
Speaking of an event you'd like
to... really want to put my vote in for him to become the next pope, but he's just not going to be.
Speaking of, we sit next to each other sometimes at St. John's, Catholic Church downtown. Would you like to be inside the conclave?
Yes, because when I do have this 2-hour conversation with Cardinal Dolan, he's going to give me all the skinny. But, yes, 100%. I would absolutely die to be inside there to hear what they're saying. And have you watched the movie The Two Popes?
I'm familiar with it, but no.
Okay, well, you need to watch that. And the other movie is The Conclave, which is more recent. But The Two Popes is about Benedict and Francis.
Right.
And the unlikely friendship that formed between the two of them, because the way the movie portrays it, whether it's true or not, neither one of them really wanted the job. And Benedict was coming out of it and Francis was getting it. And they were like, Benedict got out the way the movie portrays it because he didn't want it. Francis was getting it. And they just kind of had these, conversations as we're sitting here over watching soccer. And it is a really, really great story. And it touches on the conclave a little bit and touches on the fact that how the voting goes and how things work. But then there's, now we're sitting in the middle of an actual conclave.
Exactly.
Right? Which I think is going to start May 9th, did they say? But anyway, and I get it in theory why they don't really want an American pope, but I just love Cardinal Dolan. And I think he is just a good human being. And I love the way that he gets it and the way he communicates to people and the way he, and he's not for everyone, but I do think if we were going to have an American pope, he would be tops on my list. So plus I need all the scoop from after the conflict.
Does your career as a firefighter energize your Catholicism as much as your Catholicism energizes your career as a firefighter?
I think that...
Because I remember you doing the interviews when someone torched St. John's.
Yeah. Angry. I was not happy girl for that. Yeah. And that was a shame. I don't understand why that is. But regardless, I am, the Catholic religion, and we have all religions on the fire department, but the Catholic religion seems to be the most prevalent, and it's the one that's the loudest, right? It's the one that's out there the most. And I wouldn't want to be any other religion, and I'm glad that I am in a profession that embraces Catholicism as much as the fire service as a whole. Even when we come into town, when people are into town for the FDIC conference, there are several masses that happen during that conference because there's so many Catholic firefighters, and the entirety of the profession is so steeped in Catholicism. I'd have loved to be a fly on the wall in New York City back in the day when that was, the firehouses were made up of, and I think that actually used to be a thing. Politics and religion used to play into who actually got hired.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so as you do a little bit of research, even here in Indianapolis, you could see back on the hiring cards from some of our former firefighters, they were Republican, Democrat, Catholic, Lutheran, whatever they were. And it was heavy Catholic. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be any other religion for me personally, and I'm glad it's part of the firefighting community.
You have been listening to Leaders and Legends, a podcast presented by Veteran Strategies, an Indiana-based public relations enterprise. We are also a federally certified, veteran-owned small business. As always, all our podcast interviews are dedicated to the legacy and generosity of P.E. McAllister. Our guests, let me just tell you about Battalion Chief Rita Reith. Her certifications include, obviously, firefighting and tactical rescue, EMT, rescue diver, top water rescue, high and low angle rope rescue technician, hazmat technician, and extrication. She is also a member of the Region 5 All Hazards Incident Management Team. She's a graduate of the Lugar Center, Richard G. Lugar, Excellence in Public Service. She received, in 2016, the Randall Tobias Center for Leadership Development designation as a Hoosier Fellow.
Did you ever go through that program?
No, ma'am.
You should. Should still do it.
I'm old.
I know, but you should still do it.
Let me just tell you, I could read her resume all day, and it absolutely pales in comparison to actually knowing her.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
You're wonderful.
Nice. Same to you.
Thank you very much for listening to Leaders and Legends, brought to you by Veteran Strategies Incorporated. If you want to contact us about this program or our menu of public relations services, please send us an email at robert@veteranstrategies.com. That's robert@veteranstrategies.com.